All right. Very well.
They spent a 72-hour water fast. That was fun.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Feel good now.
Yeah. That's
Now I'm
tough,
eating
though,
again.
yeah.
It's tough, dude, yeah.
We can
Yeah.
call to
Yeah.
order.
So that's just-
Before the
Was
holiday.
that Dana White?
Yeah, same one he did, yeah.
Dana
Gary
White
Greene.
did, yeah, so you were drinking the,
Bone broth,
yeah, the bone broth?
yeah.
Oh, we're on.
We'll call the meeting to order.
7, we have a quorum. We have no public or public comments, so we can move on to
Reading and approval of the minutes for our November 16th, 2023 meeting. We need a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion to accept the reading of the minutes.
Second,
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
On to the finance report.
I reviewed and I'll make a motion to accept the check detail as presented.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye. I have reviewed and I will make a motion to accept the cash flow statements as presented.
Second on
I'll second.
that. All those in favor? Aye.
So a couple weeks ago, I sent out the proposed budgets for operating parks and pilots and the budget memo. I also created these documents. This is our current parcels. This is the land that we own.
Thank you.
And then for our audit in March, we do something called the mission statement and measure report. But I did it now to show kind of like what we've accomplished over this year and how much land we have and the pilots that we have done. So that's part of the budget discussion. To keep with our mission, Eric and I are working with the county. We've located a couple parcels in Greene County that we might want to entitle. So in the budget, we put in numbers for additional consultant support. We looked at that 10 acres in green business as possible future housing, so we'd like to get that shovel ready. We are entitling working on wetland and archaeology over the battery storage land, so that's part of the numbers in the parks budget. I didn't know if anybody had any questions regarding the budgets.
No, it looked pretty, I don't want to say straight line, but it looked pretty straight line.
Yeah.
And
So
some of
one
the
thing-
things we're looking at is whether it happens next year or even a money spent happens, maybe not, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
I have no questions, so I'll make a motion to accept the 2024 budget as presented.
Okay. Anybody have anything they want to add before? Second, need a second on it?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so this next bullet is our IDA administrative motions for 2024. There's a list.
We have to do those individually, or?
No, we can approve the list.
The list
So
that's presented is
the
that
list, yep, it would be a motion for the election of officers. To accept Paul Goldman as our legal counsel, a motion to accept BSP as our accounting firm, a motion to accept Catskill Daily Mail as our newspaper, a motion to set our proposed meetings for the third Thursday. So there is a point note that we did discuss moving our January meeting to the 25th. And then our holidays to be observed, also included in the packet, and there are no changes to these policies. There's the investment policy, procurement policy, mission statement, capitalization policy. So we've not made any changes on those. And then what I've passed out separately also is the evaluation IDA performance measures. So we can accept all the motions.
Make a motion with all 11 forward.
I'll accept Fred's motion.
and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our project updates. Got it. So for Carroll Water Sewer, it's been status quo. We did receive letters from the town to DEC and DOH to move that project forward. The town has updated their zoning. We have signed the contract and gotten bond documents with American Evergreen, who's the low bidder on the project. So they are prepped, ready to go once we get the DEC permit. Any questions on Caro? Okay. And there's no paving involved in that one. So once we do get the DEC, as long as weather holds out, we can start that. It's just digging in the right of way. They told me it can happen over winter. Okay. Litmine Solar and New Athens Gen, because it's litigation updates from Paul Goldman, we're going to move it to executive session. Empire Merchants North. So as a separate thing, I didn't include it in the package. I made it a separate package. You'll see your Empire Merchants North request for the pilot to be amended, second amendment. There's an approval of the public hearing minutes, and then there will be a resolution for Empire Merchants North for us to approve the execution and delivery of certain second amendment of the pilot. Did you want to give it?
Sure, just so everyone knows, there was a tax assessment review proceeding with the town that resulted in a settlement of the assessment on that property. Now, it really was a settlement of nothing because our pilot agreement had these 5-year freezes and it was right in the middle of the freeze, so it would have affected nothing. So the company asked us to modify pilot agreement to implement the settlement, and that's what I've drafted. That's why we had the public hearing. So it reduces the assessment. The town has agreed to it in terms of the stipulation and order, reducing the assessment. So we have to modify the pilot agreement is what we're doing, to just allow that to basically take away the freeze and allow the assessment as established by the municipality to go into effect. So we had a public hearing, no one showed. We sent the minutes, the notice to the affected taxing jurisdictions. The school would have been or could have been a participant in that tax assessment proceeding and opted not to challenge it or whatever. They consented to it. The town approved it. So that's all we're really doing. And it just takes it down in accordance with the stipulation or order signed by the judge. So there's been no comment on it. So I have before you a resolution that approves the execution and delivery of the second amendment. And everything else stays in place, including the tax allocation authority agreement where we get some percentage of that. So that's everything is just going to just be consistent with the order.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that before we do that?
Make a motion.
Move that.
So let's make a motion for the approval of the public hearing minutes first.
Okay.
Action, so moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Second motion for the resolution, Rachel?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, there's minutes to be signed.
Yep.
And that's all these. Right. Moving on to the parks. So Gateway Green Commercial Park. Work continues on the infrastructure and the road. We are working with that. We have run into a lot of rock. They have not eaten through the contingency part of the rock yet, but we are expecting a change order, which is in our budget. A lot of rock. But we're prepared to pave in the spring. We are, the water and the sewer lines are making their way down the road. Delaware Engineering yesterday met with Central Hudson to place where the poles will go down the road for electricity. Stewart's, as many have seen, the building is up. They went to a site plan review last night at Catskill to add a shed, which was approved. So everything is underway for them to move in the spring. We've gone out with Catskill Associates. Warren and I continue to meet with them. The bid documents are very close to being ready to go out for the visitor center. Paul has the deed for that Stewart's building, the old Stewart's building in escrow. So once everybody's built up and ready, the gates are out. Oh, it was the shovel. The wind blew over the shovel. Sorry. We're visitor center and Stewart's are ready to, flip flop and open probably get going in the spring. Natural gas
This is kind of one for
update.
you.
Work is also scheduled to begin in the spring to extend the natural gas down the road and then over to exit 21 West. And the last part of Gateway Greene is the Catskill Lodging LLC public hearing. So we held a public hearing on Tuesday, December 19th at 6 o'clock. The minutes I sent out yesterday for review. We had four people speak positively, all politicians representing the town of Catskill and the county administrator. And then we also had Joe Izzo, who's a resident of town of Catskill, who supported the project but was opposed to a 5-year lengthening of our or the deviation of the pilot. So we've approved, or we're presenting to approve, instead of a 15-year pilot, a 20-year pilot. So within the minutes, we've crafted the response for Joe and explained it's in the finding statement. There's 13 different points of why we are extending it. If anybody has,
Just so everyone knows, we have a uniform tax policy that goes back to the Stone Age. Right? And just
1999.
Yeah, and the period of length of the hotel set forth in there is 15 years. Okay, just so everyone knows. Okay, and that's what it's been. We've probably used it for the 2 hotels at the exit here in Coxsackie. So we're allowed to deviate from the uniform policy if we feel it's correct. And then in the draft finding statements, I've set forth finding on each of those factors. So, we haven't approved that. We're not approving the deviation from 15 to 20, but that's what's on the table, just so everyone knows, the genesis. I mean, the uniform tax policy, if you look at it, I just haven't had it here. It's pretty decent, just for, it starts out year one, they pay 10% taxes, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55. So, it's a pretty deep discount. But we all know kind of where we got to with both this site and the other site, to get a hotel and get financing. Now, right now, rates seem to be going down a little bit, but it's still not, we're still in the 6% range. Maybe, we're not going to be in the 4% range for the foreseeable future. So that's what has been represented as needed. I think this corner hasn't generated any taxes in about, over 10 years. So the fact that if we can get this hotel going, that would be, I think, beneficial to the community. So that's what's on the table. You can read the draft statements. We're not making that determination, but I just want to give you guys the background for kind of how we got there.
So for today, we'll approve the public hearing minutes. And then in January, once we have the minutes and all the documents, I will send a final finding statement out for the board to review, and we'll work on the seeker resolution. So that'll be in the January meeting.
He hasn't, apparently, unbeknownst to me, has not gotten the site plan approval. So we've subdivided the property. So we've created the 3 lots, but he hasn't got the site plan review. And so we're kind of, so what will be on the agenda, next month will be a seeker resolution approving the deck. It's, it's a 3-acre piece, so it's certainly not type 1 action. And we would also be looking at an approval for a finding statement. They still got to catch up on getting their financing, which that, they haven't gotten. But he's spending money, so I think it's a real project.
Yeah, as long as the back end or the financing shows up, right?
And that's correct. Yeah.
It's everything.
But I think these people are actually kind of real in
Yeah.
terms of, they've done it before. So just, look, we want to get something that the main gateway to our community.
Paul, do you get any sense, or have you heard anything of banks tightening up in the sense of not lending on projects? Have you heard any of that, or,
There's some of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
pulling back a little bit?
Yeah, there's some of that. I'm seeing.
Taking risk off the table type thing, and,
Most of the banks last year said to me they were very slow. My real estate practice,
I've heard that too.
yeah, it's been much slower than it's been. And, my pipeline is not as big as what it's been.
Yeah.
It's been filled up by Lee.
And I guess I'm saying slow versus no appetite to lend versus.
I think it's still lending, but it's the right borrowers and the right projects. So that means you gotta have a lot of collateral and you gotta have a lot of experience and, so. And hotels are generally, I have always been kind of, a target, subject which has so more risk associated with it for lenders. Because again, it's a combination of a piece of real estate and an active business.
Yeah, right.
So,
So with this group though, when we went out to bid, we vetted them.
Yeah.
There was 2 interested developers in this property. This one
Mhm.
had the bid package that worked. Both of them said that the project would not happen without ID incentives.
Sure.
So. I mean,
and then one other thing that has to occur is that, the county legislature has to approve a resolution. I gotta change that to have, our county, yeah, sign it. So, that's gonna go forward for next month. So it's progressing, you know.
we saw a draft of it in the finding statement. It's the Greene County concurrence letter.
Because it's considered a retail project, so you have to, you know, if it's retail, then you have to have an approval of the county legislature
Right.
for the grant to be incentive.
Do we need to go in, you wanna go into executive
So we
session now?
need approval for the.
Oh, the
public
minutes,
hearings.
yeah, okay, so I need approval for the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then just a last quick update on the Austin Glen. IDA did sign an option agreement with Connecticut for that 60-acre parcel. We're doing due diligence for 3 months, and then they have the option to extend it for 3 months. So, this is from my new property, I printed out maps. So our big map, it's 60 acres. We are working with a developer with Connecticut to explain the topography issues that that site might have. Last night, Beljar, which is now, bless you, good company, they got their site plan finally approved for the garage, so they're gonna be moving forward on the garage and the market. This year, we did transfer over land to the town for the pump station, and that right away where I wrote ROW, that is the infrastructure that's in the road right away, so we deeded that over to the county. So this property's been cleaned up and it's ready to go. We'll see if we can create the project with Connecticut.
April, is it, that's the throughway there, and that's 23 here.
Throughway.
Throughway,
Just a
throughway, no, we
Oh,
have
this way.
23 is here.
Throughway and that's
Right, right,
through
yeah.
behind it. It's landlocked in the back, but, you know, we've brought people out in the UTV on the topography. We did a GEIS back in 2017. The town is prepared to look at, we had looked at a water park or multi-level different situations going in there with housing, restaurant, water park. So destination tourism, recreational, maybe some walking paths up where you see all those very black coastlines. That's very steep topography. Going down
What's
to
the red
creek.
circle, April?
That's where we mitigated archaeology.
Okay,
It's right behind those houses.
Yeah, right behind the houses. So that we would just do a line adjustment and include all those.
And where's Beljar? I'm sorry. when
So Beljar is this good company.
Why did it
So-
take them so long to get their site plan approved?
They had some other projects that they were working on also.
Um,
They went a couple times to the board, and it was also, if you drive by there, that was where the garage was, and it's all open, like you could just pull in anywhere, so they had to work on curb cuts to make it safer. So they did change that up, but the garage and the second pad are already available. They did the asbestos remediation already on the garage, so they're ready to go. They are also the owners of what's going to be called Mighty Donuts south of here. So that project is almost done, ready to open. So now they're ready to work on this project.
so the smaller circles are also archaeology as well.
It could be, light spots.
Is it just them testing in those areas, or are they actually finding stuff?
They didn't find anything that was different. So in our finding statement, or I mean, in the, there is a finding statement within the GEIS that these are all remediated. Same thing with wetlands. There's no, we can avoid very deep pockets of areas.
Are those wet or are those,
Those are just steep. So
Those are
very
the-
close lines.
those are the really steep areas, so you said, yeah, okay.
So one of the projects within the budget for next year is to try to remediate some of the deep ravines, working with Renee on filling to make pads. So we're
Yeah.
gonna do that when the hospital was looking at that front area. It's a lot of rock in that area, but that's a good part to like put a 13-acre pad. And then the county was looking right behind that, so that area is already kind of mitigated, ready to go.
Yep.
It's just the steeper part going up. In the
Is there a good amount of timber or lumber on the overall?
We did actually think about that too,
Yeah.
but this group, they were looking at maybe natural walking paths. I mentioned, those treehouse glamping kind of projects
Yeah.
that are working. That would work up in the back where you can hike in, and then you overlook the creek. So there's a lot of ideas floating around for this group of what they can and can't put there. They are also looking at other projects within Greene County. I'm working on with James Hannes at the county level. Okay, so we can go into executive session. It is now
Okay,
27.
so I'll make a motion to go into an executive session.
Seconded.
Second. Favor, aye. We'll just wait a minute here to.